I'm the online content manager here at Worldwide Business Research, and I'm at the Defense Logistics Conference in Arlington, Virginia. And I'm here with Rear Admiral Richard Gromlich from the U.S. Coast Guard. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Sure, thanks for the invite.
Why don't we just start with your position and what you do?
I work in the field. We just stood up an office in Norfolk, Virginia. And my counterpart is our CG4, Rear Admiral Rabigo. And the way we've got things set up right now is that Admiral Rabigo and his shop set logistics policy, work inside the Beltway resources and those kind of things. But we found that we were doing a lot of tactical execution type logistics work inside the Beltway, in the buildings in Coast Guard headquarters. And after a couple of large-scale events, particularly the Haiti earthquake and then the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, we quickly realized that that kind of stuff, the tactical execution, really needed to be in the field and not inside the Beltway. So we stood up the Director of Operational Logistics, and my job is to work every day with the operational commanders to ensure that their day-to-day normal logistics needs are met. And probably one of the even bigger things that we do is to be able to respond to contingencies. So normal ops and contingency logistics support.
So amid lots of budget cuts and things happening to defense, it's kind of encouraging that a new position would be created. Are you going to have a department, so to speak, or are you actually hiring people into this this logistics department?
It's not really new positions. It's more of a realignment of the functions. And we're in the process right now of standing up bases around the Coast Guard that we're consolidating smaller entities that had kind of become stovepiped. And we're building a base with a base commander who's responsible for all the mission support delivery at that local region, or in the local region. Those bases will work for me as well. So it's more of a realignment, not so much of new positions being created. But to go back to your question, as far as the budget cuts, obviously the Coast Guard, we're seeing some of the same things, a much smaller scale, obviously, than DoD. But I think it makes it even more incumbent on us to be at an event like this, to continue to develop those partnerships with our DoD sister services, with the interagency, to really truly understand what capabilities they can provide, and leverage that where possible to ensure that we're not trying to duplicate, because none of us can afford to do that, particularly in the budget environment we're in.
Right. Now you said you're seeing things on a bit of a smaller scale happen, but what does what do the defense cuts look like for the Coast Guard? What does the Coast Guard do that could be potentially jeopardized from these cuts? A lot of people may not know exactly what might be lost amid budget cuts to the Coast Guard.
Again, much smaller scale than DoD. Our Coast Guard annual budget in total is about $10 billion to run the entire Coast Guard. But for years, we have been very involved with things in the Persian Gulf. We've had a squadron of patrol boats there for the last 10 years to support. We've got folks that are there to help with the movement of material back to the States, to do inspections on the cargo and make sure it's ready to ship. So there's a lot of things going on there, and we have benefited tremendously from DoD and OCO funding. Just like DoD has, the OCO funding has really kept us, enabled us to do a lot of that kind of stuff, as well as do maintenance on our large cutters and other assets that are there and available for DoD to use when necessary. So the OCO funding is probably the most critical part of it for us, and we're obviously concerned about that going away.
Right. Is there anything that could potentially go away that maybe, everyday Americans might be used to and not even realize it? I mean, I don't necessarily know what the Coast Guard does to protect me on a daily basis, but I'm sure I would know it if it wasn't there and I needed it.
Well, there are certainly things that we do on a daily basis that, as we find out about potential budget cuts, there are impacts operationally. One of the biggest things is that many of our assets, particularly our large cutters, are very old. Some of them more than 40 years old. So we're in the middle of a very large recapitalization project. It's expensive. And obviously, with budgets the way they are, we have to continue pushing to justify the need to buy those kind of things. So we're doing everything that we can to look at the funding that we're getting, to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. This whole conference is about efficiency, effectiveness. We've been working very, very hard to become more efficient, but to still be able to provide the support that the American public needs, whether it's search and rescue, drug interdiction, and a number of 11 different missions that we do. We're in an interesting position. We're one of the 5 armed services, very proud of that, but we aren't part of DOD. We're part of the Department of Homeland Security.
Right.
So I think in many ways that's very beneficial, because we work in both camps, if you will.
I see.
I think we provide a great bridge between the 2 departments, and again, we're very proud of that military service and our role and our involvement, certainly with the other DOD services.
Right. And one more question. Besides the budget, which is obviously a challenge for everyone right now, what are some other challenges that the Coast Guard faces, perhaps internally? Obviously a lot of people here at this conference are looking to try and streamline operations, and there's technology issues. What would you say is probably the biggest hurdle for the Coast Guard right now beyond the budget?
Well, I think there's probably a number of things. You mentioned technology. We've talked a lot about each of the services and IT systems, antiquated IT systems, and developing new information systems. But a lot of that kind of being done in stovepipes. I think it would be ideal if we could all get to a place where we're sharing all that information back and forth, particularly on the logistics side. And I think we are working very hard. We've talked to the Marine Corps, we've talked to the Army and others about what they're doing, while at the same time the Coast Guard is looking to revise and revamp IT tools that are very, very old. So that's probably one of our biggest challenges on the logistics side. But some other things, and we'll talk a little bit this afternoon, Arctic. It's huge for the nation right now. What are we going to do in the Arctic? Shell's going to be drilling later this summer, and we don't have much of a logistics footprint up there. So we're working very closely with the operational commander up in our district office in Juneau, working with DOD, try and figure out how we handle any kind of potential, whether it's an oil spill, search and rescue case, those kind of things. Doing that in the Arctic, we've got some of the same issues down off Cuba as they start drilling, and drilling in Cuban waters that, if something were to happen, could potentially impact the United States. So there's a lot on our place right now. Our mission sets have grown tremendously since 9/11. Fortunately, over the last 10 years or so, our budgets had grown, maybe not sufficiently to meet all those requirements, and now we're looking at potential budget cuts. So we really have to take a look at what the true missions are and how we can be most effective and be efficient at the same time.
Okay, well, good luck with that. We're looking forward to hearing how it goes, the progress of it, and thank you so much for joining us and being here at the conference.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.